NERDSoul.
Yeah, late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, another wonderful episode of specials. Today, you know what time it is? Father's Day. Hashtag Black Dads. Hashtag Black Families. Hashtag Black Kids. All right, you know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing today. But I'm joined by some awesome folks. You know, Nerd So Light might roll through this joint. I don't know. You know how he do. You know what I'm saying? He may be here, he may not. But with that said, I'm joined by some awesome people. When I rotate to y'all, going in, not only tell us where they can find you, but how many kids you have, their ages, and then we'll move on. So I'll start from the diagonal corner. Mike, Freestyle Comics, introduce yourself.
Oh, what's up, everybody? Mike Watson, founder, publisher of Freestyle Comics, 1/4 of the ages of nerdy, and the most enthusiastic person in comics. I am one of those things you call a father and a dad. I have 4 of those little children running around the house. My oldest is 13. My next oldest, she actually just turned 11. And then I have a 9-year-old and my 6-year-old son whose birthday is coming up here in a couple days. 3 girls, 1 boy.
All right, I see you. And in the bottom square, we got Jay Washington. What's up?
Yo, first of all, your directions as opposed to what I see on this Zoom,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know who you talking about, so you got to just say a name. I'm like, I don't know who we gonna say until we get to it. Like, he like in the bottom square. I was like, in my top left. I feel like this is Hollywood Squares, and I don't know where I'm at. But it's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. Y'all know me all over the internet, a co-host of Blurs in the Hood, stand-up comedian, actor, professional wrestler, father to 2 that I claim. Like, really. And I say that because people be like, wait, you got a bunch of others? No, I just know that my 2 are mine. I have a 17-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. They are both going to be turning 18 and 8 respectively this year. And I am broke because my 17, 18-year-old is about to go to college. So every little dime I make, like, it's like, yo, bro, you need to get a scholarship ASAPual. Like, we can't do this. Hold the door.
Be like,
So,
look,
man.
college ain't that important.
Let me tell you, bro, look, like I got a college degree, and luckily it helps because my degree is in business and I understand what everything we do in the internet world and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm like, hey, bro, you see, there's a lot of millionaires out here that have learned how to make computers off YouTube. Can you do the same? Like,
You do something that you won't have to go to college for.
nah, I mean, you can go. I want you to go, but do you go to a college just for free?
Yo, man, you never know. I've heard of people going full rides on bowling scholarships. So I mean,
I know. Yo,
you never know.
Tell my son to take a pinochle and see what he can find.
So last but not least, right over here, partner in crime with the rent party coming. Well, actually, technically, the rent party was yesterday, but you can watch the restream, of course, today. But Jason Reeves, 1 through 3 art, what's up?
Hey, Jason Reeves, 133 art, bigdistro.com, third of the rent party. I have 1 7-year-old. My son is 7.
Oh,
he's
man. That guy's a trip. So, of course, myself, you guys are probably seeing him on the show soon, once in a while. NERDSoul Light, 3 years old. He's enough. He's enough right now. I ain't gonna front. He be up in here trying to run things. I mean, he sort of do run things, but we try to keep a lid on him every now and then. Try suppress it.
To 3-year-old,
a little
the words
bit.
keeping a lid on a 3-year-old don't exist.
He be beating me up all the time. So I mean, it's just how it is. But I wanted to throw this out to the panel. I'll start with Mike. What were kind of like your feelings, or how did you, when it all sat with you, say like that night in the hospital, or if you had a home birth or whatever, what was the wave of emotion like when you first saw your child? Like what was that when it finally settled in? How was it?
What have I gotten myself into?
Wow.
Dude, it's just a little crazy, man, because it's like it's a little person that I had a part in making, and I'm a lot like my mother, more so than I even realized, because like when my wife went into labor, the thing I was excited about was driving fast and not getting a ticket, because we both worked at the same job, so I was ready, like. Whenever it would happen, I was just ready for it. And they came from the back room, was like, Mike, Carmen's in labor. Y'all got to get to the hospital. I just looked up and said, bet, because this is what I've been waiting for.
I've been training for this.
I've been training for this.
Saw that bat signal in the air, like, let's do this.
Like, what's the cop going to do? I mean, yeah, he may stop me and pull me over. Like, I'm in labor, man. I got to get her to the hospital.
Gotta go.
I'm hoping that we get the Die Hard treatment and he becomes my blocker. And I'm the running back. That's what I'm hoping.
Yo.
He had young Die Hard with a vengeance treatment talking about some UD ambulance.
But
wow.
All in all, I think that was all like a cover and mask for me to try to deal with and try to understand that I'm venturing into a new world, that I'm venturing into fatherhood. And when that all happened and I held my kid Logan in my hands, I was just like, I was awed and fearful at the same time, because I'm like, am I ready for this? Because this is about to be a lot. Like, I want to model this kid after me. I want to take this kid on adventures. I want to do all this great stuff with this kid. But then at the same time, I'm looking around like, somebody touches my child, I'm gonna fucking kill him. It's like so many things. Man. At once, and I'm like, and then I'm thinking back, like, how did my mom do this? How did my mom pull this off in this moment? It's just like so many things, but then happiness that she was here, that she was in my arms, and like that this is a real thing. Like she really exists now. This is my little person for the rest of my life. This is a little fragment or shadow of me.
Where Jason?
Oh man. So some people tell me I ain't got no feelings, right? Like they be like, you're emotionally stunted, like most of these people that don't interact with me on a day-to-day basis. I think I exude a little passion, but for the most part, I try not to let the small stuff really, really mess with me. So it comes off as a sort of like, I don't know, robotic, whatever. But I'm an emotional as dad. Like, so being in the hospital and seeing Jason for the first time. And I remember vividly them pulling him out and him not making a sound, right? Like, and it was like the craziest 15 seconds of like my life, right? I'm sitting there like, yo, breathe. Like in my head, I'm like, please breathe. You know what I'm saying? And, they do what they do and they get the gunk out of his mouth and all that. And he starts crying. And I swear my eyes just welled up like a big anime character. And I was just like, yo, this is the most surreal moment I've ever been in. Like cutting the cord and holding him for the first time. I mean, I was the besides the docs, I'm the first person in his family that ever touched him. And that resonates with me really, really hard, man. My dad was a hard man, but at the same time, he really treated us with love, regardless of how hard he was. He always let us know, yo, I love my kids. I want to be with my kids, regardless of whatever circumstance it is. And he wasn't perfect and he didn't have it every time, but that resonates with me. And I transfer it as much as I can to Jason. So I'm an emotional dad. I'm the dude taking the pictures. I'm at the shows like, yo, like he just started Taekwondo recently. And I'm in there with my phone like, this dude. I'm like, this dude can fight. Look at this dude. Like, I'm sending pictures to his people like, Cobra Kai never dies. Look at this dude. And, everything that I might have taken issue with, like what other people gush over their kids, I'm all that. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a big ass hypocrite because I think my child is like the baddest dude in town. You know what I'm saying? I'm his biggest cheering section. So, you know, I'm an emotional dad, but only, you know, only for him though. Like I
Only
don't
for
give
him.
everybody that. Yeah, I don't give everybody that, but I give it all to him. So that's me.
All right, Jay.
So mine for my son was crazy because I remember when my son's mom went into labor and we go and she finally dilated after 3 different attempts and being like, yo, these are contractions. It is what it is. So we go in and I remember she starts pushing and then they tell us, uh-oh, his cord was wrapped around his neck. So they had to go do an emergency C-section. Here's the crazy part. They wouldn't let me in the room while they did the emergency C-section because it's emergency surgery. Me being the father, I'm like, yo, I ain't trying to hear that. I legit tell the doctors and nurses, my hand to God, I said, by law, I have to let y'all know I'm a professional wrestler. And if someone doesn't let me in here, I'm going to fuck them up. I literally said that. When I tell you, the nurse was like, we are going to figure out something, because I was so frustrated. I was pacing back and forth and dropped and started doing push-ups. They knew it was real with my ankle because I'm like, yo, this is my firstborn. So they were like, look, we cannot let you in the room. We can have you right by the door so you can see in. So when they pull him out, you can see it. You can see him being pulled out. So I was like, fair. I'm by the door. I watched them eventually pull him out and raise him up like Simba in the Lion King. And I was like, okay, everything the light touches is the hospital and the bill. So I don't get to cut the cord, but they bring me in. They put him out of area after they do the APGAR test that all of us dads notice when they put him like it's almost like a heater. They put your child in like an incubator. So they put him over there. They bring him over. My son looks at me, and the first thing he does is pees. And I was like, I get it. I was like, it's good, fam. I get it. Like, you peed. But then they brought the afterbirth in a plate past me. I was like, I don't need this. Y'all can keep this going. So it was at that moment, though, after he peed, the afterbirth, and we sitting there, and I put my finger towards it, and he grabbed my finger. Like, he literally grabbed my finger. And I was like, at that moment, I knew with him coming, my life had to change first and foremost. There's a difference between when they get here, we all know, and when they come and you automatically in your head, like, all right, so can't do too much of this no more. Got to start thinking about that. Can't do this. But then when he was there, it changed everything. Like I said, it was my firstborn and my son. And so holding him was just making me think like, yo, what am I going to do? Because my father passed when I was 5. So my dad died of a diabetic heart attack. So first of all, it was like my dad didn't get a chance to do many of anything with me or my younger brother. My younger brother never met my father. My father died a month before he was born. And so my goal was always to be in his life and then to make sure I could do what I could do. And regardless of the relationship him and his mother and I eventually had, but it was always that I want you to be the best man possible. And I'm gonna have to play this by ear too, because my dad wasn't there. So I just have to go from everything I've seen around me, from friends who have their fathers, friends who I've been connected with their fathers, et cetera, et cetera. So it was literally, it's been a learning curve. In that moment, I was like, I was excited, I was anxious, I was fearful because I didn't know how I was gonna do it. Again, everybody's saying is you've seen dads before you, so you understand what this is like. Some people have had their fathers in their life. See, that's what we talking about. Yo, you're not gonna let us just talk. Like, yo, I'm coming in here, daddy. I don't care what you do. I'm gonna come be here right here. Look, you gonna notice me. Because Mike was trying to play it. I'm like, oh yeah, how you doing? Look, this is all about you and everybody else similar to you. All right, yeah, we see you. We see you.
Say
See
hi.
me though? Like y'all see me though? Y'all really see me though? But yeah, man, that's the thing. Like you once that moment happens, man, your life changes, and it's that rush of emotion. It's that belief that I have to give my all and then some. That's why I'm so, for people who know me now in my career, yes, I'm grateful and blessed with every amazing thing I've been, fortunate to do, but they're all for the goal of building something for him and his sister because I want them to have and not go without.
I see you saying.
Word up. So with me, he was a preemie. So there was like complication with the pregnancy and all that. So he came early. So
I gotta close this window. I'm sorry, real quick.
Are you good? You good? So he came earlier than we thought. We were thinking, oh, he'll be here at this time, get the ducats together, get the money all right, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, well, I'm going to be early.
What is Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's Spider-Man.
What is Spider-Man?
Yes, that's
How
Spider-Man. 3 months early. So, yes, so 3 months early. Yes.
3 months early.
Yes, 3 months early. So, definitely a surprise because I remember the doctors coming in and they're like, oh, we might have to take him early. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? No problem. How early are we talking? They're like, this week, like tomorrow. Yeah. They were like, we're prepped probably tomorrow. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so see, the money plans was for him to come in March, and see, it's December right now. So
I ain't got no money.
The
Hey, man,
money
I ain't got
ain't
to file my taxes yet. Like, what is you talking about?
So when he finally came out, he was so small. He was 2 pounds and 14 ounces. 2 pounds 14 ounces. Super small. And they had to do a C-section, so I had to stand outside but they did let me come in like right before they took him out. So they brought me in, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes before they brought him out. But I remember they brought him out. I was able to cut the cord, but then they were like, we got to go take him here because he's a preemie. We got to do all this kind of stuff. And that night, because I had Lisa in one place, so I had to go over there, make sure she was cool. Then I came back to him, and I remember he was in the little incubator box because preemies, they're all in these little kind of like I don't know, little like buckets or whatever, like little boxes to kind of like keep them warm and make sure they're safe and all that. And they let you put your hand in, but you got to put like gloves and stuff on. So I remember, like washing up and everything and put my hand in. I was on the phone with my mom. I remember holding him and I'm just like crying. And the only thing I could get out is, I just want to be a good dad. I mean, I'm crying like I'm crying like movie crying. And all I could get out is, I just want to be a good dad. Like I don't want to have the son who's like 30, 40 and he resents you and he's like I hate you. You ruined everything for me and all. Like I don't want to have that son. I want to have the son that like grows up. So that's all I could think. And he was just so small, and he would just lift that little baby leg up. Like that's all he'd do is just lift his leg up. But that was enough for me to know, like, you in there, you fighting, you in there. I know you little, but you gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically that whole night was just, I gotta be a good dad. I gotta be everything. Which leads me to my next thing. I just want to throw out to whoever want to handle it first. What's something that maybe you learned or experienced from your dad that you're like, I can't do this. I got to make sure I have to, that part of whatever our family or our lineage or whatever, it has to stop with me. Like I'm gonna stop it with me, and he'll be free at least of that. You know what I'm saying? Anyone? Oh, you're muted. Oh, Mike, you're muted.
My fault. I ain't want no background sound messing y'all up. That's real easy for me. Not hard at all. Being present. My father's a bomb. So my biggest thing in the world is being in my children's life as much as I possibly can. You know, I work a lot, so like, I mean, actually, I take that back. We all work a lot. Everybody on the screen. So like my studio is set up in the basement. So I've set up an extra monitor, set up an extra, TV screen in here so they can come in here and play PlayStation while I'm drawing or working on comics and stuff. Cleared out enough space and brought in like a little couch so my wife can chill out in here and lay down in a bit on the couch while we're watching TV while I'm working. Just creating space in here because I'm drawing all the dang time. And like they know that, like they know that I'm drawing comics and stuff, and so they know to come down here and find their spot and sit down and hang out. We do movie nights and stuff, and we play around, we go outside, we spend time together. My father just I remember, let me see if I get this number right. 3 specific things in the entirety of the lifetime of my father that he did for me. Helped create me. I got my talent of drawing from him. And one time he spent time with me, I was driving my Power Wheels car and some kids tried to jump me. And I remember him just flinging these little children off of the car. Like, I'm like, dude, this is how much I knew I was a geek, but I didn't know at the time. My little Power Wheel car had 3 buttons. You had the pedal to stop it. It had the regular button to go, and then it had the red button for turbo. So when these kids came at me, your boy hit the turbo button, but that don't do nothing.
I was like, turbo.
Yeah, give you a little joke. You know what I'm saying?
That Night Rider. Night Rider.
He say I hit the joint. He's like, I'm not going no fast. It was wrong.
So literally, I'm like, it's not fast enough because these kids is climbing on top of it trying to get me out of it and take it. And the one thing that I can say that this man did for me was he got them little kids off of me as quick as possible. It was like, Samwise Gamgee coming to Frodo Baggins' aid. Like he was just tossing them off. And like, that's literally the last thing I remember of my father. And that was when I was really young. But I didn't have a lot of, I learned quickly, and my mom didn't badmouth my dad at all. There was no dogging him or anything like that. My opinion and my experience with my father was my own to learn and grow with. But I quickly assessed that, that was the last thing that was going to happen. And
Man, say after that, life is not gonna be the same. Ever.
Yeah, life is not gonna be the same. So
what a way to go out though, like on some Dominic Toretto.
Right. It's all about family. Hit this button.
Kids flying.
But yeah, that's I knew that no matter what, I had to be a present figure within my kid's life. And my dad was into drugs and alcohol. And I don't knock anybody that drinks, or anything like that, because everything can be handled with, a maturity level or whatnot. But it's just not something that's been for me. I saw the darker side of it. A lot of my friends drink and everything like that, but, they know how to handle it. And while I don't knock people for it, it's not my lane. I've always wanted to show my kids that you don't have to do this specific thing in order to have fun. Like, I really don't want them to get manipulated by the mainstream culture of how cool it is to drink and smoke and stuff like that. And that's why, I have absolutely no embarrassment card. So when my kids go out with me, they know I will do some quirky, crazy crap, man. They know, when we go to comic book conventions, they're like, yeah, that's my dad, the one on the table, yelling at the top of his lungs about his comic books. I just want them to show them to be to chase after your dreams, be a free spirit, and don't that you don't need that other stuff to be fun, confident, and and be yourself. Be yourself no matter what. Don't get locked into what other people think of you, and just be you fearlessly.
What up?
Nah, man. Again, my dad was not perfect. The saving grace of my dad is that we knew that he loved us, but at the same time, I mean, he was a lot. So, I mean, I guess the main thing, other than what Mike says, is to be present. is to not beat my kids, or my kid rather. My dad was forceful, and if we got out of line, like I always say, when I'm talking about it, I'm like, my dad had the biggest, hardest hands I've ever seen, like the biggest callus.
He had them old man hands,
like a brick, dude. Like I can feel I can feel the palm of his hand right now. Like it's just hard, just rough, like it's like the bottom of somebody's foot. That's how hard the damn hands were. And he was strong, and shorter than me, shorter than I am right now. And I'm short, but he had a lot to prove apparently. But he was one of those parents that hit their kids. And I think mostly it's because he had been on his own since he was 14. He didn't really have a dad either. And the cycle just continued, right? So that stops here with me. I don't touch my kid in that way. Like when I get upset with Jason, we send him to his room. Or when we get upset with Jason, we say, we give him the look and we talk to him, and Jason he wouldn't even, if you did hit him, he wouldn't understand what that was in the first place, right? Like he just he's never been reared that way, so he wouldn't get it. And for the most part, even though he is kind of like a free spirit and kind of like the kind of kid that bops around and has a lot of energy, just talking to him can rein him in. Just reasoning with him can rein him in. Because a lot of times when he knows you're disappointed in him, that hurts his feelings as much as maybe a smack or something would. But I've always said I don't want to bring that energy into. I don't want my kid to fear me. I don't want my kid to have those kind of things to say about me. And I don't want him to feel like that is, that punishment is something, physical punishment, corporal punishment, or whatever you want to call it, is something that should exist in in your world. Like, you don't have to put your hands on people to be effective. You don't have to put your hands on people to get your point across. And, that's what I'm not bringing to Jason, among the various other things that was wrong with my dad. But, so that's one thing.
All right, Jay.
Well, it's a bit different for me. Again, my father passed when I was 5, so I didn't get my father fully in my life. But my grandfather, my dad's dad, took over. And so when you bring up hands like stone and that grip, bruh, my granddaddy, who's like my dad, he's that dude. My grandfather is like 90 something, and I still don't want to shake his hand because I'm do you understand? I'm a grown man.
Old men be having them hands that just be like,
bro, I'm a grown man that can bench press 400 pounds. I can lift 100-pound dumbbells with ease. I do not want to shake that 90-plus-year-old man's hand because I'm terrified.
That old man strength, man, it just be coming through.
He has had it since I was a child. And so, but the thing is, he never whooped us anything. Now, my mom was a single mom. I'm not gonna lie. My mom was like, I got 2 boys on the south side of Chicago. I'm not finna play no games with y'all. And so I do understand as we got older and moving forward, how not to utilize that method of punishment for my kids. I get that. My mama was like, look, it's too many of y'all running these streets. I grew up in the last generation of the It Takes a Village. I grew up in the last generation of that.
Yeah.
Where the neighbors, everybody with kids, all the parents basically policed every child. So I grew up in that last generation of that, where if you was acting fool down the street and your boy's mama saw it, you were like, well,
you was getting told on.
I'm finna get told on. And that was the worst part to get told on. And so my mom also was the type where, because I like I said, I was raised by my mother, and my mother did such a great job for what she had to do. My mom was working 10, 12-hour days. And the worst thing you could ever do is get in trouble and let them call my mama's job. That was the worst thing.
Boy,
Bro.
if your mama gotta leave work because you don't know how to act.
No. You're going too far. You're going too far. You're going with the have to leave work. My mother was the if they call my job. That was it. Because like I've always been the class. I was always the jokester, the dude that would crack jokes and like that's just been me. And I would get in trouble and they would call. I remember the principal would call my mom. I was like, can we not do this, please? Like I told the principal one time, I was like, can we not do this? She was like, no, because the principal knew. The principal, because again, I'm part of that final generation. So my principal knew, like, yo, I remember one time my mother was like, I'm not even gonna deal with you. I'm sending you to your grandfather's. And I said, don't do this, please. I cried.
Please.
My grandfather did not have to hit you. He has a voice that was so booming and thundering that whatever he said sounded like God spoke to you, and it terrified and it shook your soul to where you knew not to do it. Like I wasn't fearful of, I'm just afraid of this man. I was afraid of verbal discipline from that man. Like he didn't have to hit me. He didn't have to, he could speak and I would be broken. I said, that is the most terrifying thing ever to know that so with my kids now, my son is going on 18. He is again, we are all grown men. So we all know when we hit that point where we smell ourselves. His mom is great. She does what she does. But when he hits that point and she got to call me, he knows it's bad and he hates it. I can hear, she'll be on the phone. She'll be like, your father want to talk to you. He'll be like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk about that. Because I'm the same way as my grandfather was with me. I have the voice that I will break you. I will make you know how disappointed I am in you. And I recently had to go in on my son for an hour and a half on the phone. And I said, I swear to God, if I feel at any point in this conversation, you are not listening to me, I will get on a flight to Indianapolis right now. Please don't play with me. And he was like, he is for real. Because I literally was like, I can fly Spirit, and if I gotta fly Spirit, that is gonna be more of a problem.
Oh, not like, Spirit though.
You know what I'm saying? If I gotta fly Spirit,
if I have to fly Spirit, you really go.
You're really in for it.
You really into it. So again, I like I said, for me, it wasn't I learned that the physical discipline doesn't have to be there. I learned that you can have that voice, that level of disappointment, but also go back to Mike said earlier. My kids know I'm gonna be there. My kids both know what I do. My son knows. My son hates it that his dad's a celebrity of sorts because his friends know who I am. And so his friends are always like, yo, your dad is, and he like, I don't care. And I'm like, but I'm always like, could you though? Like, it's the
just a little bit.
Could you care? Like when I was, I'm blessed and I'm sorry to take some time. When I do so many great things, my son is just like, that's my dad. I don't know what y'all want or expect. That's
he ain't important.
He's like, that's just my dad. Like when I was like at certain commercials, he was like, when I was on The Weakest Link, he was like, that's my dad. They was like, your dad can win some money. So that's my dad. I was like, this is terrible. So like,
see that if he wins some money, you ain't getting none. No.
Man, which I didn't, by the way, but I digress.
You was close though. You was close.
Yeah, because I didn't know that Rocky Road ice cream had marshmallows in it. Because I've never eaten Rocky Road ice cream.
Because it looks nasty. But I've had throughout the course of my life. I've had 3 dads. So I've had my biological father, my brother's dad, and now my stepfather, who my mom's married to now. And in some way, shape, or form, there's been like a heightened level of just anger. And then there's the anger that I built from not having my father around, like when I was younger. So one thing that I worked so hard is to make sure that this guy doesn't have anger. And it's fun to watch him be so, like, it's scary because he's so innocent. And I'm looking at him, I'm just like just the things he does, like there was it, a butterfly or something like that? And he introduced himself to the butterfly. Like I was just like, this is I want to keep this. I don't want you to like go out there. I want you to keep this. Like I want you to be in a boat and just be happy. I don't want you to go out there because it's bad out there. But the main thing is like this anger that I've had for a long time before I even dealt with it is something that I don't want him to kind of deal with. I don't want him to kind of go through that. I want him to be able to be his own man. So that's something that I'm like, that I have to stop it with me. I can't, I can't kind of like visit anger upon him. So it's like, even when, like I remember my grandfather, I think he spanked me one time in my whole life. And he meant business that one time, and that was it. I was like, I understand. Never again shall I cross you, sir. but with NERDSoul Light, just trying to like, just looking to just be like, okay, let me chill. Let me kick it. Let me chill. Because it's like, out of, like, say I pop him like a week ago or a couple days ago or something. If he does something, I'm like, hey, stop it. And like so I'm like, okay, I gotta chill. Cause even something like the hand or pop the leg or something like that, or I can see that he is already, so it's like, I take extra time to be like, all right, I gotta chill. Cause like me trying to get your attention, like, hey, listen, I don't want him to be, like you said, I don't want him to be scared. But we went, and this is crazy. We went to get some food, and I had him beside me. And so I'm like, okay, I got him in the arm and bag in the other arm. So I'm like, okay, let me put you down real quick. Or I was holding his hand. I was like, cool. Let me sit the bag in the car. Then I'm gonna pick you up, put you on your chair, right? Wrong. I put the bag in the car. I turned, he gone. All right. Now, look, I didn't know he was directly behind me, like hiding, playing hide and seek, but I didn't see him, and I see a car beside my car pulling off.
We in a parking lot.
Immediately, I'm like, where? And he's right behind me, like, hey. And I was just like, boy, you got to listen to my words. I was like, come here. But the fear, because you see the car moving, and it's not like he's 3, so they're not going to see him if they're backing up. So immediate just fear, and fear that I've never felt before, like crazy fear, where it's like, what? Why would I be scared? And I mean, not fear from anything that I've ever experienced. And when I finally saw he was directly behind me, like playing, I was just like, okay, I understand that you're playing, but I'm angry, but I need to chill. And
I don't want you to die, but don't you know I will kill you?
I will kill you. If you die, I'm gonna kill you.
So
man,
I try to teach my kids, we all try to teach our kids to be able to move and operate on their own until we get in situations where they have to be on their own doing something, and then like you're second guessing, looking at everything or whatnot. But like we were talking about A Quiet Place the other day, and while I did, those are entertaining films. Those are the worst parents in all of fiction.
Well, I've only seen the first one. I can only comment on the first one.
It don't matter, bro. Why you just had one child get eaten by a monster? Why do you get pregnant again?
Yeah.
Wait, pause. Even before that, we walking in a straight line. Aliens that took over the earth. Why is the youngest in the back?
In the back.
I don't play that
very
at all.
Yo,
Every day you gotta walk in front of me.
Like, they're gonna kill that kid, right?
The youngest, but the deaf one is in the back too.
Right.
What
Right.
Again,
I
Mike,
never
you ain't seen the
understood
second
that.
one yet, but I'll say this: they already said they're making a third.
Yeah.
I've said this on Twitter, and I stand on it. The son got to go. The son
Yeah.
got to go. He got to go in the third one.
Yo,
He got to go.
This is my thing. Okay, so we live in a multi-generational home, right? And here's what I noticed. Like, we live with my in-laws and one of my great in-laws, right?
Okay.
I can't live with my family. They crazy. But
He
my
said
old
they
lady
crazy.
family, wonderful people. When we go places together as a family, if I'm not at the very back, Will, which is my father-in-law, is at the very back and I'm at the very front. Like, man shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not to be sexist or whatever, because these women can handle themselves. Don't get me wrong. But just instinctively, one of us is at the back, one of us is at the front. So when I saw that movie, I was freaking my mind. Like, even before the kid got took, I was like, yo, why are the kids back here and why are the parents up there together? What is happening?
It's crazy. Here's the thing, though. It happens. Lisa, we were riding somewhere and people was just letting their kids walk across the crosswalk all along, not holding their hand, no nothing. Now, of course, I'll just say this. Y'all know how I am on this channel. My antennas is up. It won't us. I'm going to just say it. It won't us.
Oh, I already know what it was. Look, we already know. Man, some black people, like, if you don't get yours, we don't even talk fully with our mouth. It's through the teeth. If you don't get yours over, like, you.
It just bothered me so much because I was looking at that whole scene. I was like, I don't let my kids walk behind me in the Walmart parking lot. Like, I don't, like, it's the alien apocalypse. Y'all ain't split that up. Like, I see y'all walking on salt. Y'all got the maps. Y'all got all these traps. But ain't never one of your parents think one in the front, one in the back. The deaf kid needs to be in the middle.
In the middle?
And the smallest child needs to be right next to you. Like, I don't even understand how y'all practice all that stuff. Because, like, we're all creatives here. So,
also, this is how you know those parents didn't care. We can move on. Again, what parent doesn't know their child that took a toy? What parent doesn't know?
First of all, you're supposed to talk to them before we get in this store. Listen, don't touch nothing.
Not a thing.
Hey, I got that talk from my mom. If my mom did not want to spend money, that was the talk. I'm going in here for what I'm going in for.
Yep.
We're gonna be 5 minutes. Don't
put nothing in the cart.
Nothing. You ain't your birthday next week. It's next week.
But
yo, it's not even about money. It's the alien apocalypse. So you gotta have that same talk at a bigger level.
Your mama deviate from her plan, because if your mama say she only coming in for 2 things, but she start looking at something else, you want to be like, but you just told me, and you like, no.
Don't you ever tell your mama what she told you. All right, I'm just letting you know. If your mama, if you ever be like, Mom, guess what? You a hypocrite, and I'm about to call it right now.
Well, it was nice knowing you. You say those words.
Because you about to get popped in your mouth. Even if your mama wrong, shut up. Don't you say that. Don't say, I'm telling you. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to save your life.
Better remember it. Because I was like, and I'm hearing everything that everybody's saying. And I was definitely fearful of my mom. Like, I love my mom, respect my mom, but I was fearful of her, and that was something that laid in there on me until I was 18. And you know, as my man said, I smelt myself, and you know, I'm 18. I'm out here.
Yep.
Prom night.
Can't tell you nothing.
I'm staying out. I ain't got to report home. U.S. government said I'm grown. I'm out here.
Be where I'm at.
Be where I'm at. You know, I had a pager back then, and my mom's phrase was, if I paid you, that means get you home. That's it. It's not a phone call. I ignored all those.
Ooh.
But you know,
because couldn't nobody tell you nothing.
Nothing. I was out here. But, you know, I woke up the next morning, pager blown up. That I called my mom back. Had that hesitation in my voice and that dry mouth. And and my mother was super calm. She didn't yell. She didn't cuss. None of that. And she just was like, where you at? I'm over at Daryl's house. You know, I spent the night.
Worst thing you could have heard.
Yeah, I was like, I just spent the night over here or whatnot. So why didn't you call me back? And I was about to go into this whole elaborate thing, man. I was going into this whole elaborate thing about me being grown. I served 12 years in school. I'm about to go off to college. Like I was going into this whole thing, and I was like, nah. And I just told her, I'm scared of you. I'm scared to death of you. I was just afraid of what you was gonna do. And she was like, and she stopped and she thought, and I could hear it thinking, and that's when me and my mom had our first real conversation as equals, not just as like my mom talking to me as her son or whatnot, but now she's understanding that the same things that she did to protect me and keep me in line, those same things don't apply now. Or they're not going to apply because I am going off to school. And we had the most honest and amazing conversation that we've ever had. Now, I've never disrespected my mom. I never will. I'm very big on that type of thing. I absolutely love her. But she was strict. She was. But she had me when she was 16. I was a boy out here, you know, and she had to be tough on me, which I didn't understand, or I did not start to understand until I talked to her. And then I went off to school, and 1 week of being in college, I watched this young lady get completely transformed by my 3 bucket-headed roommates. They completely changed this girl from what she was when she came to school to what she is. She ended up dropping out, man. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like I watched this corruption happen. And when I saw her and she was this whole different person, like a week of being at school, I called my mother and I said, thank you. I'm sorry. I completely understand. I understand why you did what you did. I understand why you parented the way that you did. I understood why you were strict with me. I understood it all. Because if my mother was not the way that she was with me and how she raised me, I would have been fell victim like that. Because just like that was my first time. Like I moved out of Cleveland. We came down to Columbus. That's only 2.5 hours away, but I'm on my own, living on my own in a city I've never been in before. And that was also that girl's first out of state experience. That could have been me if my mom didn't instill the things in me that she did, which made me think for myself and not be able to be corrupted in that same light. Because albeit my mom was strict, when I really look back on my childhood, I got to do a lot of stuff. Like as a kid, you don't realize that. You don't realize how much experience you may have gotten. Because like when I look back, I was like, oh, yeah, I did do this. I got to kick it. I got taken care of for the holidays, birthday, all that stuff. Is just, I was mad because I couldn't do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's something I try to put into my children. Because I don't play with moms specifically. You're not gonna disrespect your mother. All right, your mother saves you from me. Your mother gives you
your mother saves you from me.
Because trust me, I be wanting to go in on my kids, and my wife is the one that, you know, we sit out and we talk, and she tries to, you know, explain it or talk it out or like think about it. Because like if I find out they're disrespecting or not listening or they do something wrong at school, like I said, I'm my mother's son. She didn't play with any of that stuff, and I'm not gonna play with any of that stuff. Especially, like, you can't tell me nothing. I called my mother a week after living on my own. I said my mother was right. So then I'm going to be moving in the same function that my mother is moved in. So,
wow,
that stuff is crazy because like I really try to look back on what my mom did when she raised me, man, and I'm like, I don't know how you did it. Like I still to this day, I don't know how my mom taught these things to me and was still aware enough to make me be able to like stand up and fight for myself, be able to, you know, catch the bus by myself, the RTA when I was like in the 7th grade. When I got into my first fight, like my mom just stood there and she said, "What you gonna do?" And like I defended myself. I got into the fight, like. But like I can't really go back and just think like, when did she teach me all this? Because then I'm looking at my kids and I'm like, how do I teach my kids this? Because trust me, somebody picked with my oldest daughter over at one of our old houses. I immediately came outside. What's your problem? What's good? She do something to you? You know, I'm like protecting her. And then like after the situation, after we resolved it, whatever, I sat down here and thought, I was like, she's going to have to be able to handle these things on her own. How can I instill this protective nature into her? Because she's got siblings. You know,
you gotta get her that power wheel.
that power.
She pull up and be like, we got a problem?
The issue. And the turbo, it works this time. What are you talking about?
Turbo works well.
Right, you got to fix the turbo on that piece, though.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
I did want to go there next because I want. Are there lessons, or are there things that were taught to us that we were like, I get it now? Like, have we had? I mean, Mike already went, but have you had your conversation with either your mom, your dad, your grandparents, who be like, I get it? Because I remember, I live in LA right now, and this is the first time I've ever lived on my own. And I remember moving out here, and I didn't know anyone out here. I had no friends or whatever, or no family. And I remember calling my dad and being like, or my technically my stepfather, but he's been around since I was like 9, 10. So he's like sort of my dad now. So I called my dad and I was like, you were right. All them knucklehead boys you didn't want me to be with, you were right. Because when you get like 30, you start being like, oh, they're all in jail. All those guys are in jail, or they're not doing well right now. Mm-hmm. But at the time, Dad, you don't let me do nothing. You don't understand. Blah, 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 blah. And now I remember calling him. August will be 10 years being in LA for me. And I remember calling him and being like, you were right. Thank you. You were right. Because a lot of these boys pulling, and I mean, some of them guys are pulling some real time, like 10, 15, 20, like real time. Not like, oh, he just went in jail for 6 months. No, like real time, and did some serious things. But your boy could have been right there with him, because I wanted to be. I wanted to be cool. And my dad was like, I got better than cool. Alive and free. As free as you can be, and that's a whole other but alive and free. That's even better than cool. And I just remember being like, yo, you were right. And there's a line in Fonte has an album, I think he dropped like 2-3 years ago, but he said, I'm old enough to recognize my dad was right, but also have a young one old enough to tell me I'm wrong. Like, so it's that cycle where it's like, you don't know nothing, Dad. You don't understand. It's like, trust me, I've said the same thing. I know, but just stick with me, because I understand. But I guess to wrap up, as we wrap up, are there lessons? Are there things that adult conversations that you had with your parents, with one of your parents, basically like, yo, thank you, because you got me here, or you got me on the path to here? I guess going to Jay.
For me, it honestly is weird, because I didn't have a chance to have those. The moment I thought I was going to have it, my mom passed in 2007. So when my son was 3, he already turned 4. And after she passed, my son's mom and I split. She moved to Indianapolis. I was still in Chicago. So I never got to have a chance to have those discussions about thanking her for the lessons and the values she instilled that I learned to pass down to my kids. My grandfather, he's now, like I say, he's in his 90s. He's suffering from Alzheimer's. So I can't, I don't have those discussions. For me, it's literally a pray on it thing to them, my father and my mother, that they both can see me being the best father that I can be, and that I am doing them proud. Because, like I said, I know throughout it all, my mom and I, we did have a falling out at one point, but we reconciled, and thank God we reconciled about a year or two before she passed. but it was, you know, watching and understanding everything she did and why she did what she did, why she said what she said, and how she was. You know, again, two boys on the south side of Chicago in the early 90s, where I tell everybody, yo, we always, some people talk about the murders in Chicago now. Yeah, it's bad, but we always say this: if you made it through the 90s, boy, you can make it through anything. We was having 1,000 something murders a year, and that was before social media. So my mom managed to keep two kids alive through the streets. One who ended up being a part of the streets, and my brother. My brother ran the streets more than I did. And so I learned that you may be stern and hard on your children, but there's a reason for it. You don't always have to be physically aggressive to your children. You can instill lessons and values into them and pass that on to next generations and whatnot. And my bad, there's a hospital like down the street from my apartment that I moved to,
They trying to get you, man.
and people get shot. Just all I'm gonna say. I live in the valley. People get shot. Uh, and so, but again, it's this. You know, I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned from her. You know, my dad, my father died. I'd never forget the day he died because he called me before he died. He called me from work. He was coming home from work to see my mom, who was pregnant with my brother and me. My dad was like, "This is Transor Z." Transor Z was my favorite cartoon back in the day. That has always been, embedded, ingrained in me. Like since then I studied more about Mazinger Z and started watching all the old school anime behind it. And so there are lessons that your parents will instill in you. And again, knowing that my mom wasn't able to tell me and give me this life advice of how to be a parent, and understanding that I had to see things that happened to me and my son. I'm like, oh my God, I went through this with my mom. It's those things.
What up, Jason?
I'm an outlier too. Like my biological parents are cautionary tales almost, right? Like there's not really anything that we've had conversations about, and I've been like, man, thank you, for teaching me that. I mean, I could be like, thank you for teaching me that the reverse is better.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Like indirectly giving me a.
Yeah, I've only had really one conversation with my mom where I was like, where was this mom in this conversation when we were growing up? And she told me, and this sticks with me. She said, man, I was out there in the wilderness too. You was figuring it out, so was I. And that, even though we don't really gel really well, we don't get along that much, but at the same time, I get it. I get that part of it. Like you was young, you was green, you didn't know. So whatever happened, you were trying to do the best you could at that time. Again, my dad went up when I was 12. Like I remember his love, but he wasn't there for me in my formative years either. My mom married, this evil ass cat, and he made my teenage years a living hell. I was out the house by the time I was 16, so I didn't have really. I don't have those particular moments with those particular people, but I collect father figures. I collect parental figures, and I will say this: watching my wife's father deal with that part of the family is like inspirational to me, because this is the most patient cat I've ever seen in my life. I mean, and he's not like a waifish, mouseish cat. He can be imposing if he wanted to, but he's so tender with these people. And that's what really kind of inspires me to be better with my son and be better with my wife and my family. Because again, I come from gruff ass people. I come from hustlers and whatever. And it's like, it could have went bad. I wasn't wild. I wasn't in the streets when I was young because my home life was crazy, right? So I had to deal with that. Like going home, I could walk into any kind of situation going home. I came home one day and my mom had this big heavy stroller. She about to hit my stepdad over the head with it. That's the type of shit I would come home to. So, it's like, it's weird. Like I know what not to do and what energy not to bring
By
into the
living
house
through that.
by living through those people. And you know, and then I'm so thankful that as an adult, even like I'm it's almost like, you know, now I say you got your second childhood. I feel like I'm almost in a second childhood in the sense of watching my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and my grandmother-in-law love each other and love these kids and love my wife is teaching me how to love better. So those are the people that really have shown me how to be a fuller person in love like that, you know?
What up?
So
What
that's
up?
me.
That's what's up. Well, guys, look, we have exercised some of the demons, a good amount of them. You know what I'm saying? Happy Father's Day to all y'all fathers out there doing y'all thing. We're going to throw it around the horn once again so you can find these awesome folks, buy some books, follow them, do whatever you got to do. So in the bottom square, even though he don't know he in the bottom square, Jay, say what's up.
Man, I was going to look around again. Is it me? Thank you, fellas, man. Happy Father's Day to each and every one of you all, man. It's a blessing to have black dads as we doing, being in our children's lives, definitely breaking the want to be imposed stigma and stereotype upon us. And like, nah, bro, we out here with our kids, man. We
there's
love
tons
these
of black
things.
dads everywhere.
We out there doing this, man. But also Twitter and Instagram, Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. Blurs in the Hood every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Me and the co-host Winston A. Marshall. We talk about the world of pop culture, news, sports, entertainment, politics, and a whole lot more from a Blurred's perspective. And we are unapologetically black. YouTube.com/Blurreds in the Hood, Twitch.tv/Blurreds in the Hood. And for me, the Mad Titan Podcast, everywhere you get your podcast from, I get you caught up on all the things happening in the Marvel and DC live action cinematic universes. It is barbershop talk for nerds. So come on in the convo. And that's it.
Word up. I am Mike. What's up?
Mike, you muted, by the way, for you.
Oh, muted. Yeah.
I was wanting to help you out real quick.
Hey, I appreciate it. That's my bad habit. I just want to make sure because my kids run up and down these stairs sound like a semi truck going through, man. You guys can catch me as Most Epic Art across all social media platforms. And of course, right now I have a Kickstarter going right now that has 5 more days left. We're about $600 away from 10,000. So if you go to freestylecomics.net to hit up that Kickstarter, to share, back it, show any support, it'd be appreciated. We just unlocked a $1 tier that will get you 17 digital comics for $1. We're trying to get as many backers as possible on that. Again, that's freestylecomics.net. So any support there would be appreciated. But I've learned this thing watching, these gentlemen work and other creatives in the field. So branding is key for me. Most Epic Art on all social media platforms.
All right. Last but not least, Jason.
Y'all know me, man. 133art.com is the hub. Big Distro is the other distribution arm. 133 Art Printing is the print wing. We do Kickstarter fulfillment as well. At 133 Art across all social media. Y'all know where to find your boy at the rent party. We out here.
Word up. And thank you guys for yesterday. If y'all watched the rent party, if y'all didn't watch the rent party, go watch the rent party.
Go watch.
Because it was fun.
It was dope.
See, we go into the future to tell the past how fun it was. See, y'all don't even know how we do.
Great Scott.
Are you gonna say bye?
Bye.
Say peace.
Peace.
NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all in places. Hit the thumbs up if you like what you see. Hit the thumbs down if you don't.
Hit the red
And hit
bell.
hit the red and hit the bell. But if you hit that thumbs down, guess what? Who you gonna send after him? Who you gonna send? Want to send the Wu? Yep, gotta send the Wu-Tang after him. You know what I'm saying? And Wu-Tang is for the children. All right, but also hey, look, you don't want Bobby Digital coming down on you. So podcast where you get them, Spotify for that music. Don't sleep. From us to you, saying thanks for watching and peace. We out. Show them the Wu. Show them the power of the Wu. Oh, you hitting with the Spider-Man? You hitting with the